They're obsessed with this thing.
What is that, Blue?
It's like
What is it?
you turn it on, and it's like a little fidget thing, and it tells you which dice to put.
Yeah, that's perfect for my arthritis.
My hands stable, I feel able to turn the tables, I could do this. Just keep moving, keep your hands up, stupid. I feel lucid, a new viewing. I can see the end, I can see my future, I can view it. It's right there for the taking. Everything I've ever wanted, dreams are just waiting. I just gotta fight for it, willing to die for it, willing to like soreness.
Hey, greetings from the year 3000, it still sucks. This is Philip J. Price, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show, your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe, you know what to do, just like every other podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Drunk Turkey Show. Jaime is coming in. That is actually an effect. That is not him rolling in. As you can see, that was real smooth. It's a green screen behind him. How did you do that, Jaime? Tell everybody.
Magic.
I hope everybody's having a great morning, a great weekend. It's football Sunday for me. I'm excited about today's game. Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be taking on the Cleveland Browns. I'm not really in stadium, but I wish I was. Big Blue, where are you at? What are you doing today? Did you just get off work?
No, I was actually off yesterday. I went to a Friendsgiving, so I'm a little hungover. Not too bad. Had a little bit of
A little too much turkey?
yeah, too much turkey. You know, they brined it with too much vodka, I guess. It was a good night.
I thought so, man. That's pretty cool, man. I went to sleep early and didn't consume any alcohol, and that's about it. Man, I'm boring. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't do much. You know, I watch football. I consume my time, my free time, with my daughter and my wife, but then also with this YouTube stuff in this case. That's about it. That's all I do now. You know, yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I enjoy it. Let's see.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, man, because when I'm not doing something, I feel like I'm missing that I did something. I had something planned. I don't have a day where I can literally say, "Oh, I laid around the house all day," because I get very few of those days, man. I always have something planned. Somebody's got something planned. Got an invite over here, work, school, everything, man. The kids have projects and all this stuff, so I'm always busy for some reason. But it's good. Makes time go by fast.
Right. I was gonna say, man, if you're not busy, it's usually not a good thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. I like to be busy. So we got a couple of things that we're going to be talking about today, though. We're going to be first and foremost. Thank you for those that have emailed us some questions. I'm not going to be able to give all or not all of the questions will be asked of the when we do interview the Goncalves family. That's still in the works. We still haven't confirmed a date or time or any of those things yet. But it should be happening pretty soon. If you do have questions, if one does come up that me and myself or Jaime and Blue haven't put together on our sheet of questions that we already have, it would be helpful just to make sure that the goal is to answer some of these questions that are lingering out there. Like, for instance, I had already asked her about, Kaylee and Maddie walking the dog after they got back from the grub truck. And she said that was false. Nobody saw that. That wasn't on any video or any of those type of things. And so that's already been confirmed. There's a few other questions that are going to be confirmed. Like, for instance, one of the questions that I'm going to ask is how much of Kaylee's stuff was in Kaylee's room? Had she moved out yet? When was she planning to move out? Those type of things. It's not going to be anything regarding the case or any of those things. So I'm not gonna ask anything that's going to violate any kind of gag order, and I'm also not going to go into anything that I don't want to ask a parent of a victim. So we're not going to go into injuries or any of those things. But some other of those questions that maybe you might be hearing that, can be construed differently. Like, for instance, the Kaylee and Maddie walking the dog. That led to a bunch of theories. One of the theories was that they had seen a masked man while they were walking the dog at 2 a.m. Well, that's completely bullcrap. Didn't happen, right? What do you guys think? What you guys have come up with a few questions. Oh, that's a good one. Is there a co-defendant? I'm not sure if they would know that. That's more of the, I guess, the prosecution. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know if they will give out. I mean, obviously there's gonna be rumors, right? But to be confirmed on, I think it's just gonna be on that side, on the prosecution side.
Yeah, I think one of the ones I forgot to mail that we got a question about a couple of weeks ago or days ago, was if the dog got taken to the vet because it got injured by the perpetrator, which I don't think happened, but that might be one we can add to the list.
Oh yeah, and like where did the dog go?
Yeah,
and things like that. Because I had heard it went to the animal shelter.
Yeah.
Now the reason why it would go to the animal shelter, because there's people are questioning why would it go to the animal shelter. That's a good question to start off with. One, the owner of the dog is deceased, right? The one that was there, Kaylee, and the other owner of the dog is in question at police station. So there's nobody to take possession of that dog at that moment. Things are going pretty hectic. Resources are limited. It's not like 60 agents of the FBI showed up the minute that the phone call came in that there was a quadruple homicide or an unconscious person, right? That took some time. And, in those type of situations, you would take the dog to an animal shelter. The animal shelter is not going to, release that dog to anybody else. There's a hold on that animal. And so I know that somebody was worried that, well, if somebody came in and adopted the dog before, Jack could go pick him up, that would not have happened. There's certain procedures and stuff that have to go into play. But one other big news, though, I do want to bring up before we get into all the Kohberger questions and comments. We're going to have a guest on the show. We're working on a time as well. We've already confirmed that she will be on the show. Her name is Amy Lochran, and she is known as the Good Nurse. If you guys have seen Netflix, or you guys are on Netflix, I recommend watching the movie The Good Nurse. There's also a documentary on Netflix referencing The Good Nurse, and this is referencing the Charlie Cullen case where he was basically, I think he took the lives, or he's been arrested and charged and convicted for taking the lives of 29 individuals. And he was a nurse at a couple of different hospitals, and what he was doing was injecting. He was injecting medicine and glucose and insulin and a bunch of other things that would react with their patient in a negative way, and ended up taking the lives of 29. She's going to be on the show. She's excited to come on. I think Monday we figure out more or less what time, tomorrow more or less what date and time. But we're probably going to push it out. Maybe once we do find out, it's probably about a 4 or 5 day thing, just so we can kind of promote it. But she ended up being the nurse that helped catch him, so to speak. And if you go watch the movie The Good Nurse, and it shows you how things went down, it's a great film, great documentary. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it yet, but Blue, I think you were familiar with it. What are your thoughts on that case and just having Amy on?
Well, I think it'd be pretty cool. I have a couple questions to see. Okay, it tells her backstory more. I want to see how she's doing, but also she was really good friends with him. You know what I mean? The way the movie portrays it, and I want to see how. I got to look up to his story more because I know we were talking earlier that it could be way more than 29, and I want to see if the police have any released any information to her about how much they actually know, or they've exhumed I don't know how many bodies.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
I think the number is upwards to possibly 1,000 victims that this guy may have taken. You know, I was looking at some of the comments in certain other videos where she's, you know, where the good nurse was being talked about, and there was a few of them where I think there was one person in particular had stated that they were positive that Cullen had taken the life of their grandmother, that she was in New Jersey, was in the ICU, and she passed away unexpectedly. That, yeah, she was in the ICU, but she was expected to recover. Then all of a sudden, something bad happened. And that she suspects that, you know, her grandmother was one of possibly thousands or 1,000 people. It is insane.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this is not the only case there is about a nurse taking patients' lives. There's plenty to go around, actually.
Yeah.
I remember one case, I think his name was Harold Shipman. They called him Dr. Death because a lot of people were dying when he was in his care. So I don't know if I can't remember the amount of people or victims he had, but I know it was way up there, and he was accused of so many. So, and then and there's a lot of other ones too, where what are they, providers, right? Yeah, providers. Yeah. The ones that go to the house for the elderly. There's
the caretakers.
There's other people that, I mean, there's cases where the caretaker convinces the elderly to sign over the house or their account, and they end up taking their lives, and it's like the families, you know, find out about it, and it's a big old mess. But I mean, there's sometimes that they've been doing that for years and they haven't been caught.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, I'll be honest with you. After watching it, I was kind of like, man, I really hope I don't have to ever go to the doctor anytime soon. Because, like, you know, you put your trust in your care there, and I'm sure, like everything else, it's like that 1% that happens, right? That 1% that gets through the cracks. It's just unfortunate, you know, like that 1% of officers or 1% of priests or whatever that do something inappropriate or wrong, you know, magnifies and kind of tarnishes the other 99%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, in this story, he was going around it by messing with the security system they had on the medicine. So that's crazy. It was still dispense medicine, even though he had canceled, and that's why they weren't being able to charge him at that time. So
yeah.
His confession. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. And the crazier thing is, and you guys, if you guys watch the movie, you have seen it. It appears that several of the hospitals that he was working with were kind of on to him, or kind of thought that maybe he was up to something because of the amount of deaths that were happening. And instead of investigating it because they didn't want some sort of publicity on the hospital, they would just, you know, terminate him, let him go find a different job.
Yeah. It's because they can get sued for wrongful death, and they would lose millions and millions. Some of these hospitals, some of the lower income ones, they barely even making it, so they would have to close. And
would that be considered malpractice?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think so.
They didn't stop them in time
for the towards the hospital, right? Or just for the guy doing it.
Whoa, did Blue just disappear?
Yeah, he just disappeared.
I think that it could be one or two of the same. I mean, also you got to factor in, especially those, let's just say, while he was in a certain hospital, there was 10 deaths that occurred, but at death number 6, they became suspicious of him. And yet they didn't do anything about it. So 4 more occurred. So those would definitely be considered, you know, under that. And then also the background checks, all right, this guy did it at a different hospital. Why didn't you guys call, check on him, do a much more deeper search on this guy? Because, you know, it didn't appear that, you know, and I know like Blue said, they don't want to get sued and stuff like that. But it to me, it's just like they all should be sued, every single one of them, at this point, not just because of what had occurred and not even because what this guy did on his own behalf. You know what I'm saying? At a certain extent, he has the responsibility, right? He's the one that did it. And I'm talking about Cullen.
Yeah.
But when the hospital tries to hide it, that's different. That's a completely different scenario in a situation. And that should be taken care of. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like if they're being fired from, hospitals, they should have a reason why they fired them. If not, they would have just let them like quit, right? They would give them the option to like quit. That's the only thing that doesn't make sense. Like if you get fired from or let go from a hospital, and the reason was because I'm suspected of whatever, right? The next hospital should be like, let's not get this. you know?
Well, it depends on the state. 'Cause I think he was jumping states. They have different
That's
regulations.
true.
And it's like here in Texas.
That's actually a poor excuse.
I know, but they have different regulations in every state. But now, I mean, it's like me with one of my licenses. I have to abide a certain code of conduct with my license. If I get in any trouble, I get put on, the regular probation that normally everybody would if they get in trouble. But then I'm put on probation with the Texas Medical Department Medical Board. And they do different things to different people. And I like for us, when you're on probation, and you're done with like the regular probation, say it's a few months or a year, the Texas Medical Board will put you on a 3 to 5 year probation. And they're the ones that would issue your license every year or every few years, depending on what license you have. And then they to embarrass you, they do a random drug test on you every month, or depending on what you got charged for, right? But most of the time, it's anybody that was like, taking medicines, drunk driving, any of those kind of offenses get sent to a certain board, and then they get sent to do the random drug test because I have to perform them all the time, and they're observed. They make you. That's one of their like, I guess, things for you not to want to do this again. Is like they make your peers watch you pee. If you're,
I don't think it's an embarrassment thing, Blue. I think it's to make sure that you're not trying to put some, trying to pull a fast one.
I know, like it's they won't pull a fast one, but still, like when people on probation, they don't get observed when they go pee.
I have a shy bladder, that wouldn't happen.
They go and just pee in the thing. Like here, it's like every single month, random. You're going on vacation, random, and then they charge you like triple the amount for the drug test than they would for a regular person. So
dang, it sounds like you're in the NFL, bro. In the NFL, they do that to you.
They watch you and they point and they laugh.
Yeah. See, if they were watching me, man, I'd pee on them, like turn around, like, you want to watch?
R. Kelly style.
R. Kelly, dude, do it. But yeah, Blue, I don't think it's an embarrassment thing. I don't think that they're like, we're gonna force Blue's coworkers to watch him pee. It's more like we're gonna make sure Blue's not using one of those. What is it, Monkey Whiz?
Yeah, there's people out there that wouldn't be forced.
Blue's like, where do I sign up for this program?
Mm-hmm. How much is the
I mean, because people do height stuff. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff that people try to do. So they can pass a drug test. Trust me. And the crazy part about it is like they'll throw the containers like in the restroom lobby, and like I know the custodian's always like taking out the trash. It's like, hey, what would this be used for? It's in the trash can. It's like, it looks like somebody was bringing in some urine, and they had it in that container. It had like the hand warmer packs and a bunch of weird stuff.
What about if you go, Blue, and they go, all right, Blue, we got good news and bad news. Good news, you pass the drug test. The bad news would be that you're pregnant.
That's the question I was gonna ask. Like, have you ever seen that where somebody comes in with like a male comes in with a drug, take a drug test, all of a sudden can that be told or seen in the drug test?
It can, but we don't do it there at our office. But yeah, when they get sent to the lab, sometimes they can screen them for certain things, and then when you're pregnant, your hormones are higher, so they'll show up and those and then be like, yeah, this is a male subject with really high estrogen. I think that's estrogen goes high. That'd be funny, man.
That would be weird. And Sissy says, has everyone hit the thumbs up and subscribe? Make sure you guys do that. I know this is right now just the members only, but this will be probably released probably this evening for everybody else to watch. But this is but I appreciate that. I also want to say thank you, Sissy. She sent over a few things for little Rogie, and she loves them. I want to say thank you. I appreciate everything you do for us. Let's get DTS over. Yeah, we've been trying to get over 40K for a while. It's like, and the funny thing about that, right, that we've been trying to get over 40K for a while is, and this will be a good transition, is in our comment section, because we're, I don't want to say like, against Kohberger or pro cop in every situation, because I don't think we are. I think we're just evidentiary. If the evidence points in one direction, that's the way we follow it. If it points to some corruption, we'll talk about it. If it doesn't, we'll talk about it too. And the comment always comes up like, hey, you guys are must be getting paid more because you guys are saying that he's guilty. That's far from the truth.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more other like channels that are pro Kohberger, and I've seen their chat. Kohberger,
the Proberger.
Oh yeah, Proberger. And like I see their views and what they call super chats and donations. And it's like, whoa, like damn, man, like it's a big ass difference. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. If we wanted to make money and do this solely for clicks and views, what sells is drama. What sells is question, mystery, those type of things. So if I were to be doing those things, and I pointed it out, and so I'm not claiming anybody else, any other creators are doing this or not. I really don't watch any more other creators, to be honest with you guys. Very few and far in between. But if anybody else is doing this, I'm not pointing towards them directly. I'm just saying what I would do if I wanted to be wanted the clicks or whatever. I would have, like, for instance, when we're talking about the S&P profiles, where they were talking about the two different S&P profiles. Bill Thompson says, yeah, there are two. And the reason there are two is because when you enter it into one database, it has to convert itself so that way it can be used in that database. Think of like having a WAV file and you're putting it in an MP3 player. You'd have to convert it from WAV to MP3 for it to play. It's two different files now. You have the WAV file and you have the MP3 file. Now, Bill Thompson goes in and explains that. But what I would do if I wanted to be a conspiracy theorist to that extent is I would stop it when he said, yeah, there are two different S&P profiles. Click, stop, edit the video, put myself in there. There are two different S&P profiles. You heard it here first. Two guys. It wasn't Kohberger. He's innocent. Hit that like, subscribe, and donate me some money. And get on that. That it's not hard to do that. Yeah. It's just not right to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen another program. I won't say the name, but like, I've seen them where they're like, the host is like pretty brutal with the subscribers. Especially the ones that are not on their narrative.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, yeah. Oh, and then like you see all these super chats. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
they're being dicks.
Yeah. Right. Unravel comes in with a $10 super chat. You deserve it. Rooting for the truth. Yeah, 100%. Thank you, and we appreciate your super chat.
Thank you.
I like when you guys do aliens and ghost stuff too. I love it. Yeah, we plan on doing that. I have a couple of UFO videos that I put to the side that could be a little bit convincing. and I'm trying to get a few more together so we can go through those. We have some ghost videos that we have as well, so we'll definitely be doing that. Let's see.
I need to go do a what's it called? I need to go back to my mom's and see if I can get more evidence of ghosts over there.
Dude, we just go to spend the night there with a camera,
Right?
and
It's,
I would
you know,
I would not point the camera at you, but
yeah.
in the room.
But like, especially this week, because they're not going to be home. They're going to be out of town.
Dang.
So maybe something will happen.
Dude, go do it. Do it. All right, so what I want to do now is answer some comments that are in the comment section. If you have any questions, we'll answer you all here as well. You mean the tunnel people and Odin Cowboys aren't I mean, so are there tunnels under Idaho? Probably. You know, there's tunnels under every city. You know, do they lead into the bedroom of this house? Into the closet? Probably not. And the Cowboys, let's answer that. What is wrong with officers or investigators or even assisting investigating departments going back to the scene and just kind of taking a refreshing look at things? Like, do you guys find that suspicious? Because it happens in every case. You know, there is no secret rule or law that says that the law enforcement has one shot at this, that they can go in and they can only look at it once, and after that they can never go back in there again.
No, that's if people think that that's the case, they're really wrong for it. You know what I mean? Because that's not gonna be the case. The case is they can go back and forth as many times as they want. You know?
Yeah. I just don't see where it's suspicious.
Yeah, me neither.
And I mean,
look at the Zodiac, right? How many times have they gone back and forth with it?
I know, but yet, you know, it's just like, and I don't get it. I don't get how what law enforcement is doing is something suspicious. And then you'll have some channels say, like, what do they have to hide? Well, they don't have to tell you anything. You know, that information doesn't come out until court.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like some folks feel that they're actually investigating the case. Like they're going to be there Monday morning in briefing and put their case out on the table there for the investigating detective, the CID lieutenant, and their commanding officer, and say, hey, we got this. It's this guy. Yeah.
And I think that's where there's a little confusion, because like they are going to investigate and they're going to keep going back and forth because they have to, you know, try to get the right information, and they can't release it all, because what if during that investigation they find, I'm not trying to start any hoax or rumors, but like, say, what if they find another name? Be like, hey, maybe we need to investigate this person, and it was just because like the fingerprint was on a nightstand and it could have been a worker at the store that they bought it from, you know what I mean? And that would throw the internet into another freaking whirlwind again. Oh, it's another person, this person, that person's life could get ruined for a rumor for no reason. So I think some of the information being held back and they're investigating people are, you know, it's all different cases, but like some of it does have to stay private until they get to court and say, look, we ran. They don't even say it during court. They say, oh, we had a few suspects, but this is the one that we believe it is, because the other ones were rolled out.
Well, I mean, they had to have had a few suspects. It's obvious. The defense brought up the fact that the prosecution had taken a cigarette butt, you know, secretly from somebody, right? So that tells us right away that's they were investigating other people. I know for a fact that they were investigating Jack DeCore to a T. You know, him and Dylan Mortenson. You know, they were. I don't know anything about Bethany or anything like that. the folks that I've talked about, and it's more than one, it's been a few. The only thing that they've ever told me was that they were aware that, well, one, I know from the Goncalves family that Jack DeCore was picked up very quickly. Right after the incident had occurred, he walked up there, identified who he was, asked what happened. They told him, you need to come with us. They took him into the police department and they questioned him for hours. And, I've heard from other sources that the story that came out about somebody seeing someone in the house came out day one under interrogation. That was never hidden from law enforcement or any of those things. And law enforcement was questioning them as if they were possible suspects, because at that time, everybody's a suspect. You know what I'm saying? Exactly, Kathy. They caught the Golden State Killer through the same process that they have with BK, through DNA with family members. And that's one thing that I have stated before, is that the only reason Idaho or this court is entertaining the IGG stuff right now, and the judge has plain out said it. I know that maybe some of the other content creators who wouldn't like that information to be out there, but it's been said, it's been put in court documents as well, that the argument is futile, but because it hasn't happened in Idaho, they're going to go through this process and they're going to give the benefit of the doubt to the defense and listen to their argument. But there are other cases that take precedent where IGG was used and not used as evidence against the suspect, just used as a determining way of pointing at somebody. Karen D says, thank you to the only channel I can even watch anymore. I am all about hearing multiple sides, but people have lost their ever-loving minds with some of these conspiracy theories. Thank you, Karen. We appreciate you, and we appreciate your 1999 super chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
We love our conspiracy theories, but sometimes the evidence is just too powerful for us to consider a conspiracy theory at this point.
Dude, exactly. 100%. I screenshotted this question. I wanted to bring it up, and I'm going to ask you guys before. He says, here's the first lie the cops have been caught in. So he says that the lies have been caught in, and this is under Lions 2023. What is that? It looks like a green 4-door. I don't know. I'll show the screen. That guy. So this is his comment. He goes, here's the first lie cops have been caught in. Steptoe Apartments to the corner of Nevada and Stadium Way from Google Maps. Quickest route takes 5 minutes. How did BK do it in 2:42 to 2:44 a.m. All right. If the PCA LE states BK leaves his apartment at 2:42, at 2:44 a.m., a 13 to 16 white Elantra, BK's car is captured on traffic camera in Pullman at the intersection of Nevada and Stadium Way. The only time in Pullman his car captured on traffic camera. That's not true. His car was also captured at 5:30 something coming back in. All right. He goes, that's a total lie. Quickest way from Steptoe Apartments to that intersection is 5 minutes and 4 cameras. So 4:42 a.m. leaves his apartment at 4:48 a.m. captures. So what do you guys think about that? He lives 5 minutes away from where his car seen on camera, and according to the PCA, it says that he's at home at 2:42. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, when we look through maps, and you put a route to a certain destination, it gives you the destination you're going to get there within the, what's it called, the speed limit, right? I mean, you can haul ass.
Yeah.
And get there faster. It's like me running was like, I'm going to get to that tree before so-and-so.
Yeah. I mean, and it all varies on the time of day, too. I can put a map request right now to get to this side of town. It might say 45 minutes, but if I do that at 5 o'clock, they'll say an hour and 45 minutes.
Right.
It varies on the time. So.
Well, I've done that before, where I have put it on here where I put at 2:45, 2:50 in the morning to see how long it takes. And he's right. It takes 5 minutes to get there. I mean, he's going through town, traffic devices. In order for him to get there, he would have to, be going at 60 miles an hour unstopped, right? But I think he may be reading the PCA a little bit wrong, and no fault to him. I read it the same way at one point as well. Well, the first thing it says is that on November 13th at approximately 2:42 a.m. So that's not a guarantee. Could have been 2:40, could have been 2:45. It's approximately 2:42. The 845 was using resources that provide coverage to his apartment complex, here for the Kohberger residence. Right? It doesn't say that he was at his home, just that basically what it's saying is that his phone was connected to a tower for his home. Now that tower isn't the Bryan Kohberger personal tower. That tower covers more than just his apartment. Probably covers about half of town, if not of all of town.
Yeah. What
it says is that at approximately 2:47, the phone utilizes resources to provide coverage southeast of Kohberger's residence. So at 2:47, it shows him basically connecting to another tower. So it shows him moving, is what they're basically trying to say. They're not saying that he was exactly at his house, but that he was at the area around his house that tower connected to. And because he connected to another tower, that means he was moving south. All right. Now, why is this important? The reason why this is important is because if they have this information here, they have the information that he turned off his phone at 2:47. So what do we know? We know that that police on December 23rd went and got a warrant for Bryan Kohberger's locations and his cell activity for that night of the incident. And that's when they discovered he turned off his phone like at 2:50 something and then turned it on to 4:40. But the information that they had in there, in my opinion, was a little bit loose as far as why they would have, or how they would have gotten the warrant. Based on this, what this tells me is what they did. This is what law enforcement did, is once they got Bryan Kohberger's name from the IGG, they then went, looked him up, found out that they had pulled him over, got his cell phone number, and they went back to the warrants they already had for the cell towers in the area to compare his phone number to those cell towers. Now, at the time, they only had it for, I think it was like a 3rd-mile radius for 2 hours, before and after the incident. Now they can expand that. And and Pullman's not that far, where if he connected to a tower that was also connected into Moscow or whatnot, or even the Pullman ones, if they can tell that his phone turned off, or is no longer connected, and then it's connecting again at 4:40 to this tower at, after the murders, that is enough to get a warrant. That's enough to get a warrant. That's what they did here. That's what this says. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. This probable cause affidavit is written very confusing. Very confusing. I've had to read this thing hundreds of times, if not more. And I'll tell you, there's things I still learn out of this damn thing because it's written confusing. I wish it was more straightforward. Like, what are you trying to say? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just hidden with so much. It's like this officer had so much to say and wanted to get so much out there that it came out confusing. You know what I mean? So
yeah, we said it from the beginning.
Yeah,
it was it was confusing the first read and probably the 5th or 6th read, and then it started making a little bit more sense around the 10th read. And then you go back and like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. Man, but these are like PCAs. They're not novels. They're not going to go. They're not there to put an understanding of what their case is building, but it's not the case. It's for the prosecutors to build.
Right. And a lot of people question, like, why is so much information in here, so much information that doesn't belong, things like that. In fact, I was emailed about a group of lawyers that have a YouTube show. I was asked to watch it, and they were spewing out things that were tabloid rumors, You know, they were saying that in the Batati affidavit, which I went back and double checked again, that supposedly Bethany claims she saw a naked man running out of the rear sliding glass door. One, how is that exculpatory to Bryan Kohberger? If Dylan sees somebody walking towards the glass door and then she locks herself in her room but doesn't see him walk out, and he stops before he leaves the door and gets undressed because he doesn't want to take all this bloody stuff into his car, and then runs out afterwards, well, that explains two things. I mean, is it possible that Bethany also heard the same commotion and noise that Dylan was hearing as well? And, you know, at a certain point went out there, maybe she heard the thud and the crying too. She was below that, you know, maybe she went out, was walking up the stairs, and as she got to the stairs, looked around and saw somebody running out the back naked. Is that's not exculpatory? I mean, these lawyers, I don't know. I guess they were like, that means there's two people. There's the guy in black and the naked guy. I'm like, so you think that a naked dude and a guy clad in black showed up at the house and controlled both of these guys? and the naked guy left no DNA behind, no hair, no nothing.
Sweat.
Because he fucking powder. Like,
like he would leave some type of hair behind, but that's crazy. The theory that could be more believing is that he did, you know, disrobe after he exited the house, so he wouldn't get his car dirty. Which is,
yeah.
You know.
And I mean, it makes sense that he would take off his clothes so that he wouldn't get his clothes in there dirty. And then they were questioning, like, oh man, how did he not get DNA in the car? And I'm like, all right, well, let's take the sheath out of it, because, you know, a lot of the pro burgers don't like the sheath being there, right? So let's take the sheath out of it. If the sheath wasn't there, somebody went in there and killed 4 people without leaving their DNA behind. What is more logically going to be there, or where do you expect to find DNA transfer? On the bodies of 4 people where there was a struggle and close hand-to-hand execution was created? Or, you know, the car where this guy had planned to commit this murder, prepped the car for it, and then also had 7 weeks to clean it afterwards. You get what I'm saying? I mean, if he doesn't leave freaking DNA at the scene where there's a struggle and all this other stuff,
yeah,
and he's able to contain that, what makes you think that he's going to not be able to contain his car where there isn't a struggle, where there isn't actively bleeding or persons dying in that car? It's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, especially because he had so much support. Apparently, he had planned this, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what they're saying, right?
That's the theory. I'm not sure if that really did happen or not.
But if he went through the process of gearing himself up to the point where he can't leave the DNA from his body to the victims, what makes you think that he wouldn't do that to his car, right? And help, like, not transfer DNA from the home to his car.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, it's to me, I think that if DNA was going to be found, right, the most logical or most reasonable place to find it is going to be on the bodies of those that he was struggling with. And if you're not finding his DNA there, what makes you think you're going to find their DNA on something that he could have prepped, on something that he could have cleaned? Get what I'm saying? Meg comes in with a question, says, can cops insert what they think in the PCA? 100%. For example, Dylan stated she thought she heard Kaylee, and then law enforcement changed it to had been Xana. Yeah, especially if they think they have evidence to prove the fact. Eyewitness testimony is very unreliable, right? What they do know, and even though this was an eyewitness, this was something that was heard, it makes it even more unreliable. Right. So, but what they do know is that she heard someone said something. And what they know is that the only person who they can prove was awake at the time was Xana. You know what I'm saying? And I think that they knew by that point, Kaylee and Maddie were no longer with us.
Yeah, I think they used cell phone activity and the DoorDash, right?
Yeah, that too.
So I think that's what
You
they
know,
used to,
I,
you know,
I want to answer this one.
change the.
No, they don't.
you know, Jeff comes in saying, do they have a class at DeSales University called How to Keep Your DNA Out of Vehicles and Trash Cans? They don't, but they teach you how to not keep your DNA off of a body, right? So, I mean, it's kind of like this. Like, I was trained or I was taught, how to drive in an old truck. Does that mean that I don't know how to drive an old car? Same automatic transmission, same everything. You know what I mean? Even though I was trained in a truck, or I was trained in a Ford, does that mean I can't drive a Chevy? So he has training on certain things that can be used in certain other areas. You know, I mean, I have trainings in interviewing people, and although it wasn't trained for podcasts, it works out pretty good for the podcast when we interview people, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I've seen you drive.
Shut up.
No,
Yeah, I was
Hey,
gonna say,
man.
You're gonna start a war with Ford versus Chevy. I mean,
right?
Oh man. Hey, my driving's not that bad. It's not that bad. I don't have that many tickets.
how many
Don't ask my
accidents?
wife.
How many accidents have you been in?
Hey, why you got to be bringing shit up like that, Blue? I haven't had one in a while, man. Oh, I'm lying. Actually, I got hit not that long ago. Daniel, you're so patient.
Did
What's
your
that?
car almost give out like in the hill or something, like on the big
Oh,
bridge?
dude, on the biggest bridge in San Antonio, my freaking timing belt blew up on my little Honda, and I was like stuck in the shoulder, but it wasn't really a shoulder. It was more like a sidewalk, but it wasn't elevated. It was just a line. You know what I mean? It was just a small shoulder. And luckily I have a small car, so I just kind of pulled in there and I just kind of stayed there. But dude, my life was like flashing every time a car came by because I'm terrified of heights. And I was on the tallest freaking bridge, and I had no idea that those things wave so much. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I do drive. I'm gonna be driving later.
It's okay. I'm a passenger princess all the time too. That's what I get called.
I fall asleep, so it's a
I hate
safety
driving.
thing.
I hate driving. I've always hated driving, dude. Always. And then like a couple of years back, I applied to this job where like you drive the railroad crew around, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and I went in like for my training, and as soon as the training like ended, I was like, yeah, this is not for me. It's like I'm gonna end up killing someone.
Yeah, me, I don't mind driving. I used to love it. I used to love driving when I was little and or young, 13 to, I don't know, 20. I used to love to drive. That was my thing. I used to beg my parents to let me drive for everything, the whole 9 yards. And then when I got into law enforcement, all I did was drive like 12 hours a freaking day. And then there was nothing to do in town. So sometimes I went for a drive when I wasn't working. So yeah, now I'm good. I'm good. Regina comes in with a $5 super chat. Thank you first and foremost. She says, Daniel, you're so patient, always having to explain the same points over and over. Love you guys. I just feel that if I say it enough, it'll finally make sense. Some people need that eureka moment, that light bulb click on, like, oh, that makes sense. And when there's a lot of information that's not out there, and also when I think majority of our viewers are like first time viewers, it's good for them to maybe get a different perspective of some of the things that are going on.
Yeah, like we said before, like throughout the whole time that we've been covering this case, we've gone up and down on our on our idea of if he's guilty or not, or what could there, or if there's some other possibilities, right? But like once the evidence and the information started coming out, you just start putting it together and seeing that evidence is leading towards this certain suspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if something else comes out like that tells me like, oh, it might not be him, then we could probably go down that route. But from what we see right now, that's where it's leading towards, if they have the right guy.
Yeah, I mean, we thought that Richard Allen was the sole person. It was him in the Delphi case. You know, the probable cause affidavit came out and he put himself there. It was like, chalk it up, put this guy, lock him up, throw away the key. Defense comes out with some real questions, some real theories, a real person to point at. Makes you question a lot of things. And that's what we're doing as well. We follow the evidence. We keep it 100. We keep it a buck. If you don't like it, you know, the truth sometimes hurts. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Even when you guys throw me under the bus for my driving.
Nah, I think with your driving, you'll throw yourself under that bus.
Roads get slippery, and then you'll just slide into something else. Just blame it on the road.
Blame it on the road, man. It was like that one time I was riding, the first time I drove a motorcycle, I crashed into a fence because it popped out of nowhere. And that's my story.
Whose idea was to put a fence here?
Yeah, honestly.
It was like, I swear it was like my little brother when we were driving a three-wheeler, and I was driving, and he wanted to drive, and I told my cousin, just let him drive. I was like, man, he's too small, and he wants to do donuts like I was doing donuts, and it ain't gonna be a good idea. Nah, he's got it. I'll watch him. I said, okay. You can ask my cousin how his fender did after my brother got a hold of that. He did a donut and then just went straight into my cousin's, Capri.
Regina says BK and that DNA and the white car and the phone off adds up. Don't forget, there's also a receipt from Amazon for a K-bar knife that can't be found, coincidentally. You know, I mean, all that adds up. It just adds up. So let's read a couple of comments real quick. This one's from George Girl 3. This says, why frame Bryan? Harsh is newest. Seems to implicate just about everyone, including state and local law enforcement, prosecutor's office, the university/Greeks Brotherhood. So I decided to comment, imploring viewers to contact Raul Labrador, the Idaho State Attorney General, stating that his office take complaints regarding across misconduct and corruption. Guess what? My comment didn't last 20 seconds before it was removed. I don't know why. I mean, a man's life hangs in the balance. Well, just to show you that we're not hiding your comment, we're highlighting your comment and bringing it up to the attention of everybody. And I informed her that. I was like, your comment's not being removed. If it was probably because YouTube found it inappropriate. And I said, so you think the FBI, governor, state police, local police, police from a neighboring state, police from across the country in PA, we got to get Bryan Kohberger. He's too awesome, and he will take all of our jobs. He must be stopped, but stopping him isn't enough. To protect Greek life, we're going to target a house full of Greek life students.
Yeah.
I mean,
it will be easier to Clinton him.
Right. And that goes for like the drug theory and stuff like, oh, what are the theories there? The theories are that Bryan Kohberger was hired by the cartel or the drug dealer. Like I wish you would give your real knee-jerk reaction, Jaime, of the time when I first told you that the cartel could have hired Bryan Kohberger.
I believe I spoke Spanish. I go, no mames. There's no way. Yeah. And they're not gonna hire anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, every cartel is his own hitman.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the frame job. Let's debunk the framing job here. All right. So in order to frame Kohberger, what do we need to do? Let's just say we're the persons. You and I, me, you and Blue, all of us here. We're going to frame Kohberger for a murder. Mm-hmm. So in order to do that, well, the first thing is why. Why are we framing him? And does it really have to be like 4 people, 4 college girls, in a house. What's the reason? We're going to frame him, and we want him so bad. We're going to also kill these 4 individuals to take out this one guy, and not just take him out, just to put him in jail.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense. I think because let's frame him because he had a lot of trouble in other schools and workplaces with females. So let's get someone to take out these 4 students, and then we'll blame it on him.
That still doesn't make any sense. I mean, even at that, if those things are true, he'll take himself out. Not in the essence of his life. I'm talking about like he's going to find himself in trouble. He's going to find himself. People are creatures of habit, so he's going to continue to do the same thing over and over again. And he's eventually, like it was happening, going to get fired and outed and pushed off campus. So, you don't need to go take the lives of 4 people, when it took him, he was there since September or August, and by the middle of December, he had gotten fired. It didn't take him very long to have him out of there. You know what I mean? But if we were to frame him, what would we do? We'd have to steal a car or buy a car that looks exactly like his, take off the front bumper. We would have had to have
the front license plate.
I mean, the front license plate. I'm sorry,
you're right. Bumpers. What are you doing?
Take out the front license plate, right? And we would have had to have done this beforehand. This isn't a situation where there's a murder that already happened, and oh man, we don't have anybody. Let's go for MBK. And the reason being is, the knife sheath was collected day 1, and it was turned over to the Idaho State Lab. And within maybe a day, if that, they found and created the STR profile that would later test out to be Bryan Kohberger's. So that DNA profile had to have been on the sheath when it entered that building, right? Or, yeah, if this is a frame job, right? We're not talking about, because some people are going to say, no, he could have gone in there and somebody touched something else. No, we're talking specifically frame job. That DNA would have had to have been on that sheath when the real killer or killers walked into that room. They would have had to have known that Kohberger was going to drive around that night by himself and turn his phone off during a specific time. This doesn't make any sense. If you're willing to go and take the lives of 4 people, and your goal is to get rid of Kohberger, just take his.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. Clinton him in that game. That's it.
Exactly.
Done. And for the 4 people didn't have to die,
Yeah. And I mean, all right, so unless there was like, all right, we're gonna take out 2 stones, right? We're gonna take these 4 people out, and we're gonna make it seem like it's Kohberger. That way, police have their suspect, and they're not looking for us, and we get rid of these 2 guys. Well, all right. Like again, like everything would have to have been known about that night, about Kohberger, where he was going, what he was doing, when he was going to be by himself, how he was going to be by himself. And if the cartel or drug dealers do something, it's typically to show other people not to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if they make, what I mean, it's to stop a certain type of action.
Yeah.
And there would be evidence of that, of drug activity from the girls. Mm-hmm. They downloaded their phones.
Yeah.
So it would make 0 sense.
I was gonna say the theories out there are pretty crazy, but the one thing that I would say is they would have to take a lot to be able to frame him for this, because I would say, in the sense of the turmoil of his life falling apart, they would have to do a lot of intervention. They would have to be there egging him on for some reason to try to get him to, get in the fight with his instructor, losing his TA job, and then, I mean, you can watch a person to see their habits, but he didn't say that his habit was driving around at that time of the day. He said his habit was driving in that area, but it wasn't always at the same time of day. So it would have to be a lot for him to be able to frame this one person. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but I just don't understand the motive that why they would frame this guy.
Yeah, why him? He's not from the area.
It's like I don't understand that. Like, what has he done that needs to be that he needs to be taken care of? You know what I mean? Like that he needs to be framed for it.
Okay.
And if he's getting framed, it has to be from the police department because they're the ones that are in control of the DNA specimen and all those other things.
Mhm.
Like, you know, unless, like I said, unless it was somebody who had to have known Kohberger's completely, you know, everything he was going to do that night, and down to the minutes, knowing that they had to stop before 4:40, knowing that he would be just south of Moscow during that time.
Yeah, and had his phone too.
Yeah, like it doesn't make any sense. And there's just, you'd also have to hope that one of these 50 or 60 FBI agents, you know, one of the other officers that are assisting in this case from the other agencies, and one of your own officers in this case doesn't find your corruption of what you're doing and hopes that there's zero evidence pointing to the fact that this guy was set up. Now, the whole car thing also, somebody was saying, hey, you know, the reason why a car, you know, somebody would, you know, people steal cars all the time. You could have stolen a car, yada, yada, yada. Well, one, if somebody stole a car to make it look like it was Bryan Kohberger, where's the theft report? Where's the car stolen report? Right. And typically when cars are stolen in crimes, that's like usually drug or smuggling related, whether it's human trafficking or drug trafficking. Right. They're just left anywhere. And the perpetrators in those crimes usually aren't, they don't care if their DNA is left behind. You know, what do you think would be easier, you know, to prep your car and make sure that you don't and clean your car to keep, you know, your victim's DNA out of it, or to steal a car and then also have to clean that car to make sure that the victim's, you know, blood isn't in there, but also that your DNA isn't in there.
I mean, if he stole a car, you would think he was still a different car than the one that he drives, right? And not only that, but like if let's say if he stole a car, and since it's a small town, there'll be a bolo on there, right?
Yeah, well, there was.
Yeah, so like to take that risk, I think it'll be just easier for him to use his own car, prep it, and make sure that none of the DNA from that house gets in there.
Yeah. Let's answer some of these questions in the chat, and then somebody said real quick, you don't also stab someone 54 times if you're not mad at them. I think there was a French stabbing incident not too long ago where this guy went on this rampage with a knife and was stabbing random people multiple times, killing multiple people within a few minutes. You know, was he angry? Yeah. Was he angry at the folks that he was stabbing? I don't know. And is it possible that Kohberger is mad during this time, but is he mad at the individuals? He's just taking it out on them.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
No, I think the 54 stabbings has not been confirmed yet.
No, none of that has been confirmed. But even if it happened, even if one of them did get hit 54 times, you know, you have to realize what's going on in that moment. You know, in that moment, you have an assailant there who, in a certain extent, you know, he's creating the situation, obviously, but he's also fighting for his life. If one of the victims takes the knife away from him and turns it on him, you know, he could end up getting cut. He could be caught, things like that. So, you know, he's going to have to move very quickly and fast. And also, if the goal is to not let them scream, it's going to have to go really quickly and very fast and very abruptly. And so I don't think that just because it's the amount of times is some indicator that this was personal, because if this was personal, there's evidence that would have been involved there. Personal crimes or crimes of like, passion or whatnot, they're not well thought out. They're not plans that are, there's no evidence there. There's usually a door kicked in, yelling, screaming, what the F, what did you do? You know what I mean? Domestic violence type stuff or things like that don't typically end up this way.
Yeah, no, exactly. If it was, for me, at least from what I heard, it's like the crime of passion is either 1 or 2 victims the most. There are more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, especially because like there's some guys that get home and their wives are, cheating on them. That he takes care of both of them, or the other way around.
Yeah. I mean, those type of things, they're messy. They're real messy. Karen says, when you break it down in the most simplest terms, it's so crystal clear. I will never understand how anyone can think he's innocent. I think at this point, a lot of people just don't want to admit that they're wrong. They rather this guy go free than them say, all right, I was wrong. This guy really did do it.
Mm-hmm. And also there's other cases that the people have been like that. They're like, oh, they're guilty. And then all of a sudden something happens and they find them not guilty. And I think that also like influences some people, you know what I mean? Because it makes it more sensational, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Meg asked, why do you think BK's sister was allegedly fired? If she's an at-will employee, they can get fired for any reason. I'm sure the intention and maybe even phone calls and things to the business didn't help. And I don't know, maybe it was just a leave of absence or something like that to call off heat with the intent of bringing her back later on. And, stuff like that. I don't know why she was allegedly fired, but those are reasons. But if it was a reason that wasn't conducive to her actions, I don't know what state she was working at, but I believe unemployment rules work everywhere. And if they're working the same as in Texas, if you get fired for something like this, then your employer would have to pay you, I think it's like 75% of what your check was. Yeah, until you find a job.
Yeah. And the other thing was also, if she was fired for the wrong reasons, she always can have a lawsuit. That's what everybody does anyway.
Mm-hmm. And this will probably be the last one. It says, question from Regina. She says, do you think that they interviewed BK before you left for PA? He had a white Elantra, and Ann Taylor said she wants the interrogation interview. I'm going to say no. I don't think he was ever interviewed before. I think he was talked to during while he was in Pennsylvania from the Pennsylvania Police Department. But I think there may have been a phone conversation according to the defense team, but I don't think there was an interrogation done before he left. I have a multitude of reasons of how to explain it, and I will, but I first want to get you guys' opinion on it. Do you guys think that he was interviewed? We'll start off with you, Big Blue.
I don't think he was either. I think he was just picked up. And then I think they interviewed him when they took him to the station, but not before he was picked up, because you don't want to, you're trying to get him for suspicion of these murders. You don't want to alarm him to, being the person that's a suspect, and he'll run if these, people will run.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing. I don't think they interviewed him for the same reason that they don't want to, put up red flags for him.
Yeah.
And I think they would have done. I think they would have not let him even leave if they knew that they interrogated him and that they kind of had a suspicion that he was a person. I don't think they would have let him left before he back home.
Yeah, I don't think you give a guy like that you don't bring in a guy like that unless you have enough to arrest him. Just because you know, if you don't have enough to arrest him based on what you have, and you bring him in, and he's as smart as we all think he may be, then he can just get up and leave. Now, from what I understand, was he did talk a little bit, and then he lawyered up. As far as did they interview him, I'm going to say no. The reason being is because of the IGG. The IGG was utilized to figure out who Bryan Kohberger was. The state's document even states, and this is from the state, the prosecution, that the IGG can only be used by the FBI in this case if there's no suspects or leads, and all investigative tactics have been exhausted. So that means that when there's nothing that anybody else can do, and there are no leads whatsoever. And what they ended up doing was, once that became so, let me go back a couple steps. Othram does the same thing that the FBI does, right? The whole IGG workup. Othram doesn't follow the FBI policy. They're a private lab. So that's why Idaho was able to give Othram that information right off the bat. Now, once the investigation basically went cold and they had no idea who it was, even though they weren't admitting it was cold, that's kind of what it was. And once that happened, that's when the FBI took over, and they didn't come up with Bryan Kohberger's name until December 19th. So December 19th, they found out it was Kohberger. And the reason why I also suspect it was December 19th was not just because of the New York Times article that indicated that, but everything happens after that, right? The warrant for his phone locations is December 23rd. The DNA pickup at his parents' house is on December 27th. His arrest is December 30th. And, you know, everything happens after December 20th or December 19th. Now, according to Howard Bloom, and I would take this with a huge grain of salt because his writing has been very inaccurate, but he indicated that on December 19th that the chief of police had a pregnant smile on his face. And what he indicated was that they had suspicion that the white Elantra crashed in Eugene, Oregon without the front license plate or without the front bumper, because it was hit off and the rear license plate was taken off, that may have been the suspect vehicle. They were able to clear that pretty quickly. Now, they didn't have to go down there and check. They didn't have to go in there and look for blood or any of those things, because that's how you would normally think that they would clear that vehicle, unless they knew what vehicle they were looking for at that time, which I think they did. And so what ended up happening was they go down there, probably get somebody to go check the VIN number. VIN number comes back to a different car. It's not Kohberger's. And they're looking for him. The probable cause affidavit even indicates that they had to utilize a license plate reader that hit in Colorado, and then that then they were informed that he was pulled over in Indiana twice on his way out there. So all that tells me is they had no idea Bryan Kohberger was a suspect at the time that he left for the Pocono Mountains. I hope that all made sense.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Well, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody that's joined us. We appreciate you guys. You guys are our members. We appreciate you the most.
Yeah,
and
members.
Thank you.
And I hope you guys are appreciated the show today.
A merch giveaway, I think you said. I'm not sure. I just read it up there.
Yeah, we are. Let me. We're gonna be giving away a beanie. I think I got like 3 more left. Thank you for reminding me. How do we want to give this away, Blue? Do we want or Jaime too? Do you want to do a randomizer? Do we want to?
Yeah, let's do a randomizer.
Ask a question.
I'll do a randomizer. Let's see what we get to.
All right. Let me pull it up real quick.
Or I can ask a question, and if they've been watching this show, they'll know what it is. It's just something that I've talked about before. Oh, you know what? No, never mind. Do the randomizer because then, yeah. I forget we're on members only. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. Let me see. All right. So what should we make as the? All right. Hold on. I gotta choose. All right, here we go. So it's going to be hashtag. Oops, that's a 3. Hashtag big blue. All right.
And
So
I had to make up my mind.
uh,
I think a question would have been better for like just a live with everyone.
yeah. So this is the hashtag. It's hashtag Big Blue. We'll do this for another maybe about 5 minutes or so. We'll open it up. If you want to win a beanie, a Drunk Turkey Show beanie, I got an example. This one's mine.
What color?
So this one's not going to be the one that's going to be going out, but I think we have a gray one and a brown one and another black one. So make sure you guys put in hashtag Big Blue. And hold on, let me do it like this. Why are you there? It wasn't.
What the hell?
It was supposed to be me. There we go.
What?
There it is. All right, so it says Drunk Turkey Show hashtag DTS on the top. We'll be giving away one of these bad boys to one of our viewers. All right. I almost put like hashtag skin tag, but I was like, nah.
It's too much on the nose.
It's getting cold out there nowadays, so just keep your ears nice and warm.
Either.
You know it.
Yes, you can. You can buy one.
You can.
What's the process on that, Danny?
All right, so just email us if you want to buy one. They are $12 plus shipping, and I think it comes out to typically like $15, and then we'll ship it out. I think we have blue, black, brown left, and yeah, you can buy them. Just email us with your shipping address and information, and then we'll figure out the payment process. We accept Cash App, PayPal, I think even Venmo also. Yeah. But email us and then we'll give you that. I think our Cash App for sure is $ Drunk Turkey Show. Our PayPal is the same thing / Drunk Turkey Show.
Just be careful, guys. I was gonna say, just be careful because some people are capitalizing.
Yeah, that was about to say that, and adding a space. If it's not exactly like it is on the screen, it will not pick it up.
Yeah, so
lowercase and no spaces.
Yes.
Yeah, let's like this one wouldn't work, but this one would.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this one would.
Yeah, I believe it has to be all in.
Yeah, the computer's weird. It's case sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We have 15 entries already in. It should be fun. And it's at random. I know that. I remember one time I was I did some football tickets giveaway because I also cover the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I talk Steelers on a channel called Stay of the Steelers, and we end up giving away some tickets to a couple of games. And this last one we were giving away tickets to a game, and I think Brittany won it. And I was like, we can't win them. Yeah. So I redid it, but it is at complete random, 100%. All right, we're at 17. We got about 2-3 more minutes left.
Get to 20.
Yeah, let's get to 20. Well, let's see if 20 people are still in here.
It better be. It's going to be a better chance for that.
Right. Let's see.
Do we still have stickers, by the way? I don't even know if we still have stickers.
I do. We still have stickers. I typically throw in a few of these stickers when somebody purchases a beanie or they win a beanie. I'll throw in 2 usually. If you're interested in buying one of those, I think we're selling them for like what, $5, something like that, $4, depends.
Yep. Do we need more? I don't know if we need more.
Not at this point. I think we have quite a bit. Yeah. I miss. Why can't I just? Oh, there it is. Finally. You know, this new YouTube way they do things and change things, it makes it difficult. All right.
Is that 18 inches?
We're at 18. I think that might get us where we're going. But we have 2 minutes left. We'll leave the 2 minutes. And with that 2 minutes, well, what can we ask? What can we dive into?
Hey, what's it called? So, your thoughts, man, on P. Diddy?
Oh, dude, that guy is done. Like he's being accused of everything. I mean, this is not even including the Tupac murder. I mean, you put that on top of it, plus human trafficking, SA, um, hiring male workers to commit assaults. Like, dude.
Essays, yeah.
And he forked it up too. He dropped a crap ton of money. So there's some truth into it.
There's some, the receipts, right? So there's a paper trail and everything. So I don't know. Apparently, supposedly they did a settlement. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, he settled. He paid I know he was offering her 30 mil before she turned it down, so it was probably 100 million. Can you imagine just 100 million gone?
Let's be honest, man. It's not gonna be the first time or the last time that a celebrity pays for a settlement. You know what I mean? Instead of going to court.
Yeah.
It's a lot of those people, a lot of celebrities that, and then I'm not saying that they're all guilty or innocent. I'm just saying that sometimes it's better to pay them off than to actually go to the court and staying.
But 100 million, ain't no fucking court that gonna cost 100 million.
No, I'm gonna say not in this case, but like in other cases.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Michael Jackson, I think he paid like 150.
But that was over time, right? With like everybody, right? So
I believe so.
It wasn't just like one person. I think I heard Steelers fan do the Michael Jackson laugh. I don't know if you guys heard it. All right, let's do this. Let's hit this. Good luck to whoever wins this. Boom.
Is it me? It's me. It's totally me.
I forgot to enter.
It better not be Steelers.
Pam H. Way to go. Email us, Pam. Hit us up at drunkturkeyshow@gmail.com. It's moving in the banner below us. Send us your shipping information, and we'll have this sent out to you probably by the end of this week.
Nice.
I'm looking for Pam H's comment. Watch her be like that first one. Remember the first comment we had? Where it says, I don't watch these guys no more because I can't. I don't like them. I know it's not that, Pam. I know you're not that. But we had a comment. All right, here it is. I used to believe all the crap about Bryan Kohberger, but now seeing reflections, there's no way he killed any of them. He may have been there only. I don't know. But Big Blue, there it is. There it is. And is that like a high school football team? College? No, is that the Eagles? You're an Eagle fan.
Okay, I guess we run it again.
I'm gonna send you a black and yellow beanie. Not just kidding. Keystone States. I'm a Steeler fan.
Send us that email.
She gets the blue beanie.
Send her the blue beanie. Oh. No. Well, congratulations, Heather. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. We appreciate all you guys in the live chat, all you members. We need to do this more often, and we will. We'll be doing this probably the next couple of weeks, and we'll do another one. You guys got any final words for everybody?
Just thanks to everybody. Hopefully we get to do this a lot more often, but it's been kind of hectic on everybody's schedule. But these are always fun, and then we're gonna probably bring up more stuff to give away. So tune in.
Yeah, thank you. Y'all take care. Y'all have a good rest of your Sunday. Enjoy that football, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Oh yeah.
And if you hear me talking about Kim, it's about Pam. See y'all later.
Later.
That was supposed to end right on time. Totally messed up.
Is this still going?